My name is Sheryl, and I go by Pat Meyer, and I was an LNC in my reserve part of my career, and I was an AZ, Aviation Maintenance Administration man, in my active duty part. Getting to see other countries and talk to some of the people that I could converse with in their language, because I don't know any other languages, and finding out how other people live. And just the chance to see places other than cornfields in the Midwest. I also got to go to Rota, Spain twice, 2 different ATs, like 2 weeks at a time. And I got to go to Bermuda. I helped close down the base in Bermuda. So I've had some varied experiences. I also got to go to 2 weeks on an aircraft carrier. The Constellation. Okay, they had 3 female chiefs. I made the 3rd female chief on there. And we had one berthing compartment that had 10, I think it was 12 bunks in it. And it was just reserved for the 3 of us. The fun part of that, the Navy flew me from Washington, D.C. to Sydney, Australia to catch the carrier. I caught the carrier in Sydney. They were a day late getting into port. And this whole scenario is funny. And again, because of these conferences that I'd been setting up and attending, I'd gotten to know a lot of the active duty from all around the country. Okay, so I was talking to this chief, and he said they were getting ready to deploy. And I said, I would love to be able to get orders to a carrier, just for the experience. He goes, let's make it happen. So we worked together. I put my application in for orders for the following April, and Reserve Center calls me, Chief Meyer, you didn't tell us where the ship is going to be. And I said, well, there's a good reason for that. It's deployed. I don't have the security clearance to find out where it is, but you do. Oh. Okay. So they finally found out. They call me on Tuesday. I'm supposed to leave the following Sunday. We finally got your orders. I said, okay. She says, are you sitting down? I said, yes. Would you like to know where you're going? Well, it might help. You're going to Sydney, Australia. And I said, sounds okay to me. She says, you can't pick up your orders until Saturday. So I had to scramble and get all my cottons, because you can't have your polyester uniforms on a ship. So I got those, got them tailored, go out on Saturday, and of course the CO is having a meeting with all of the commanding officers of all the units for that reserve center, and that was the Adelphi Reserve Center at that time. And he says, excuse me, I got a chief who needs her orders so she can go to Australia. Those officers were not happy about it at all. So he came and he signed my orders, and so I left on Sunday. Okay, these are bare bones orders. All they say is you're meeting the ship in Sydney, Australia. You're leaving Sunday. You will be there Tuesday morning. Okay, the ship's not due in until Wednesday. I'll handle this when I get there. So I get there on Tuesday morning at 0600. I go to the information desk, said I'm a military member. I'm supposed to meet a ship here. I don't know for sure where it's coming in, just coming into Sydney Harbor somewhere, and it's pretty big there. And so she says, oh, well, that's no problem, mate. Here's the number to the Garden Island Stockyards. They take care of all the shipping in Sydney Harbor. Call them, they can help you out. So I call them, and they say, oh, no problem, mate, except for the ship's not coming in until Thursday. I said, okie dokie. I'm going to need a place to lay my head at night. Well, why don't you go down to the American Embassy and they'll help you out. And they give me the number for the American Embassy. So I call the embassy and I get this very nice Australian woman. She says, well, I've got good news for you and I got bad news for you. I said, okay. She said, The naval liaison died of a heart attack 2 months ago and hasn't been replaced. I said, okay, what other presence does the Navy have here? Well, we've got this lieutenant, but he's supply side. I don't know. I said, well, check with him. If he has real work for me, I will be glad to come in and do it, but I have to know what he wants. And she says, okay, I'll be in touch with him. And then she says, but you just get in a cab and come on down here and I'll have it all figured out by then. So I get down there. Sure enough, she's got it figured out. She's got a room reserved for me at a 4-star hotel looking over the harbor so I can see the ship when it starts to come into the harbor. And I finally got in touch with the lieutenant, and he says, well, I don't know what to tell you, Chief. And I said, well then, Lieutenant, I'm telling you, I'm on liberty until that ship gets here. He says, okay, fine. So I had 2 days to explore Sydney before the ship came in. Got on the ship, and they had a project set up for me. They wanted me to, I think it was sort of set up by the JAG officer because he didn't want me out there. He wanted me to come out before they left port to catch up on all their little incidental malfeasances. You know, some days shoplifting and things like that. And it's like, no, that's not what I want to do. I want to be on the ship while it's at sea. So he had a project for me to answer a congressional inquiry on one member. So I took it and ran with it. He got back to the ship and had everything ready for him. All he had to do was interview the miscreant, and they ended up discharging him and sent him home from the next port of call. Oh my God, I could not believe how big that damn ship was, and it's like, am I ever going to find my way around it? But it didn't turn out to be that difficult for me. It was very interesting because when we left Sydney, the weather was bad. We had the whole ship buttoned up for 48 hours. No flight ops at all. And then the weather settled down and they had flight ops going 24/7. So my berthing area was right below the flight deck. So you'd hear the thud, the wire being pulled across, and then hear it slithering back after they release the tail hook. But I learned to sleep with it. And so we sailed around to Perth, had a couple days off in Perth, and then flew home. Could I do a deployment on a ship the whole time? Sure. Because I'm very self-sufficient. I like to read, and so I can always go off in a corner and read a book, and I'm perfectly happy with that. I'm social. I can get along with being around people, but I like a lot of alone time too. So I went back in as an E5 and retired in 2000. This was 1979. Retired in 2000 as a chief.